Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today we are making some really cool vintage style kind of trays. Now, I had seen a video on Claire's Crafty Corner where she uses Jesmonite and resin and comes up with it's absolutely gorgeous trays. And I kind of wanted to try something similar to that, but at this point I don't have any eco pores that I've tried yet. So I wanted to see if it was possible to do it with resin. Now, mine are going to look completely different. It's just kind of like the basic overall kind of how she did it ish type deal, but differently. So what I have is I've got these pretty little, they're rice paper cutouts, and I want to color them, and the kind of theme color that I'm going with is like this rose gold, white, and creamish kind of colors. And I want to just make it look really beautiful. Now, this is going in with our wedding engagement type series, and it would be something that would be really cute for, say, maybe your bridal party gifts, or even just a pretty tray for the bride, especially if they're going with this style of a wedding. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I don't want these to be white. I want them to stand out. So I just got some alcohol ink, and I got a rose gold, some metallic ones that I got. I think it's from Naywood. And I got rose gold, and then there's a pearl. And the pearl isn't going to do anything much other than kind of give the rose gold a slightly different shade so that I can go in with, the darker spots and lighter spots on these. And I've got this really pretty kind of old styley fan, and then just a little bunch of roses. Okay, so I've got them done. Now they're nice and dry from the alcohol ink. Now I wanted to do is I want to go in with a little bit of some iridescent glitter, and I want to just kind of go over certain spots on it just to kind of add a little bit of shimmer and shine to it more than what these metallic inks are going to do. I'm just going over kind of certain areas with the white, and then I'm going to come in with some rose gold fine glitter, and on other areas kind of go in with that rose gold glitter just to give it the different colors and bring some more interest to them. So it's not just, kind of, I don't want to say boring, but boring. Just to give it that little extra something something. I just took a popsicle stick and kind of spread it on each one. Now I'm going to go in with the rose gold on the bottom part of the fan and where the bows are on the roses. And then that's it for the glitter. We're going to let this dry, and then we're just going to move on to the next step, which is starting to actually do some stuff with this tray. Now, we are doing a bunch of different things, and it's going to take a couple days to do it. Now, I could have done it with UV resin. I know this, but I didn't want to do it that way. I don't know why I didn't want to do it that way. I guess in my head I didn't really think of it at the time. I don't know why. I really don't. But yeah, so I'm taking some rose gold foil, and I'm just kind of splotching it in certain spots on this. And it's just gonna be, this is like I mean, it really kind of is a chuck it all in type thing. We're doing a lot of different things with it, but I just want it to just have kind of splotches here and there of this, and just a little bit. And then I'm gonna go and I'm just gonna mix up just the tiniest little bit of resin, and I'm gonna color it with some rose gold alcohol ink. And then just like we did with the foils, it's just going to go in certain areas. And this is just going to give it a slightly different effect than just going in with one color, or going in with, I don't like where it's going to mix into like clear resin or whatever. It's just, I don't know. It's something that I wanted to try, and I wanted to see if I could do it with resin and if it would be any better. Now, I am taking a tiny, tiny bit of white pigment paste because I want to mute down this color more and make it more opaque looking and more of that kind of vintage-y kind of look. And then I'm just gonna put it on in certain areas. No necessary, like rhyme or reason to where I'm putting it. I don't want it to be where it's gonna like fall or just beat up. Like I need to have make sure that there's enough that it's gonna kind of stay how I want it to as it dries, but just kind of thrown almost haphazardly on there just to see what the outcome is going to be like and if it's anything even similar to the Jesmonite and resin look. Now, obviously, it's two completely different mediums and I get that, but I just wanted to see if it's something that you can accomplish with resin. And yeah, I mean, I don't know. You don't know until you try. So I wanted to try and see how it would go. Now, obviously, Jesmonite cures a lot faster than resin does, unless you're using UV, which again, I didn't necessarily think of. But, hindsight is 2020. All right, so now I've got those splotches on how I want them. Now what I decided that I wanted to do is I want to kind of mix up a little bit of this foil, just a little bit, and put that in here as well. It's going to give it a different effect than me splotching it on, right? It's not going to be the same. It's going to be different because of how the foil kind of, balls up and whatever, and then I can just put it in differently and kind of almost like chunky glitter, but not. It's kind of got it. I don't know. I don't know, guys. Like, I just wanted to try different things with this piece and see how it turned out. I really don't necessarily have a reason for why I did it like this, I guess, other than I wanted to try. Try different things and see what works, see what doesn't work, and do it all in one piece. I guess. Like I don't know. I don't know. Now I am purposely leaving those two big holes there with nothing in it except for that one stupid piece of foil that I didn't think about beforehand for when I put in these rice papers that we did. Again, hindsight being what it is, I didn't think about it before completely when I was doing it and wasn't thinking about the fact that that one piece of gold foil is going to be on the wrong side of the roses that I put on here, but it is what it is. It's fine. So I put down just a tiny bit of resin and I'm kind of just pushing this onto the tray to work out any air bubbles that may be getting under it because I don't want any trapped underneath there. And then we're going to do the same thing with the fan. I am not filling these trays up this time. Not happening. Because I want to also do not just this, but I want to attempt the kind of chiffon cling wrap type effect. I've never done it before, so this will be my first time doing it. And I figured why not do it in a piece where, everything is kind of being tried for the first time. This is the perfect piece for it. So that's what we're going to do. So I also, going along with this vintage style look, I have this kind of vintagey lace that I had purchased a while back, and I thought that this would kind of look pretty cool, and with it kind of going with the same, effect and style that I'm going for. The only thing that I didn't think about beforehand, and I kind of wish I did, is that when you put this in resin, because it's less like lace like and more fabric like, and it gets that wet look to it. So that was the downfall with the lace. I like it. I think it's gorgeous lace, but it looks wet in there instead and kind of loses a little bit of the feel and it gets a little bit darker. So that's the one part that I'm not like 100% super duper happy with. But we learn from our mistake. So now I know what's going to happen if I use this lace again. So just putting a little bit on just to kind of get this lace in here so it's not going to float. So I'm not going to get the air bubbles, and just a thin layer of clear resin around the edges and on that top layer. So now what we're going to do is, this is dried. I don't have to worry about these things floating or air bubbles coming out. Now I'm doing a thin layer of clear. And now we are going to attempt this chiffon look. Now, if you guys have worked with these trays before, you know they're not like super crazy deep. I mean, they take a lot of resin, don't get me wrong. But from the point where the bottom of, I guess, the tray is to where, or the bottom of the inside of the tray to the very bottom, there's not a whole lot of space. So all of these layers have to be super thin. And yeah, so now I'm going to attempt this. What I'm doing now, blowing out any bubbles that are in there from me mixing it, because I don't want any bubbles in it. And then I am going to get, instead of cling wrap, because I've heard kind of mixed reviews on using cling wrap, I'm using a poly bag that I use to mail some stuff in. And I just kind of cut it in half. And it's like, I don't know if it's like a 2 mil or 4 mil thickness of the bag. Cut it in half and then just cut it kind of down to size. And I'm going to use this instead of cling wrap to get that chiffon look. Very slowly, first I'm crinkling it up so I get the wrinkles in there. And then very slowly, I am kind of just letting the resin take the bag so that there's not going to be a lot of air bubbles stuck underneath there. I will readjust it as I need to if I see any stuck. And then we're just going to kind of scrunch it up some so that we get that kind of fabric look in it when we peel it off and get those like wrinkles and all that good stuff in there. And fingers crossed, hope that there's enough resin in here, because I really don't know. Like I said, I've never done this before, so I'm just going off of what I've seen other YouTube, content creators do, and hope for the best. That's really all I can do. Like, you're seeing it for the very first time. There was no practice trial runs, there was nothing. This is it. So, we'll see. Okay, so I kind of got this one, I guess, how I want it. I've got some crinkles in there. I'm kind of, semi scared a little bit that I'm going to crinkle it up too much and not be able to get the poly bag out after I'm done. So I'm worried about doing it like too big of wrinkles in there, but we'll just have to wait and see. On to the second tray, doing the same thing I did with the first, kind of just letting the resin take this bag and then putting the wrinkles into it. And we're going to let it dry and see how it turns out. All right, so here we are, 24 hours later. This is dried. Let's pull this off and see what happens. Now, it pulls off without any issues whatsoever. And I do have some wrinkles in it. No air bubbles, so that's a good thing, right? I'm pretty excited about it. The real test will be what happens once it's cured and we can actually look at the finished piece. Now, I did get where, even though I did a super thin layer, from pushing it down and scrunching it up, I did have the clear resin kind of come up the sides of the tray, so I did have to peel some of that off. And now I'm just going to go in with some white mica powder, and this is my NicPro white mica, and I'm going to dust this on first. And I'm hoping that by dusting on the mica powder, once I pour in the resin behind it, it'll kind of give it that, not necessarily like a chameleon look, but you'll be able to kind of see better with the kind of shimmer and shine that the mica powder gives you. I'm hoping. I don't know. It's what I've seen done in somebody else's video, so we're going to go with it. And then after I'm done brushing all of this on, I'm just going to blow off any excess on there. Make sure I've got it covered really well all the way around the sides. I am doing the edges too because of that kind of over over pour, not really over pour, but just how it kind of rose up on the sides. And then we're going to mix in the white mica into some NicPro resin and pour it in and keep our fingers crossed that it turns out good, because I have no idea how any of this is going to look at this point. Like, I really don't know. So just giving it a good mix and, of course, getting the mica powder all over myself like I seem to do every time I use mica powder. I'm not like, I don't want it translucent or yeah, transparent. I want it completely opaque. I mean, it's like, it doesn't have to be like crazy, ridiculously opaque, because when you put it a lot in, you can't necessarily see through it anyway. But I just want to make sure that it's good enough that I don't have any super issues. All right, now it's time to pour it in. And I can't wait to see it. I'm super excited about trying it to see how it works. I've been kind of wanting to try this chiffon thing for like the longest time, but I guess I never really had the right project on what it was that I wanted to do with it. And this kind of just happened to be it. So I'm excited to see how it works. I do have an issue with chunky stuff coming out of the bottom from that where it rose up on the side. So I am trying to make sure that the resin is kind of covering it as much as possible. I'm having a feeling I may have to do some sanding at the end, but we'll just have to wait and see. And then we're going to hit it real quick with the heat gun just to pop any bubbles and let this baby cure and see how it comes out. Okay, and here we are, 24 hours later. Time to demold and see if any of these things that I've tried have worked out. And come on, come on, come on, come on. You know, I get the whole suspense thing, but as I sit here, I'm like, why am I doing it so slowly? Because I just want to hurry up and see, and I don't have a lot to talk about as I'm demolding it. So it's like, hurry up, Nicole, please. I don't know. Okay, almost there. And it's not like these things are difficult to demold either. All right. So I can see right now that we've got some gross edges. All right. Here's the first one. And I kind of like it. I mean, I'd like it more if it didn't have that big, stupid piece of foil in the middle of the rose. This one, however, is my favorite. Like, I think that turned out really, really pretty. I do really like them. Like, I think they're gorgeous. All right, guys. Well, that's a wrap on this one. Like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. I will see you guys on Thursday for the next one. Love ya. Bye.